Welcome on this Sea Ray Sundancer 265, which we took out on the West Hinder Lake today. A beautiful day in July. This is a 2022 model in, I think, a really nice color combination with this stone upholstery. But let me take you through it, and as usual we start at the bow. And of course we have a nice pulpit here with an opening on this side, which is, I think, really practical if you want to leave the boat or get on the boat from the bow. If you tend to moor bow first in a mooring, this is actually really great, having these huge handles to get on and off the boat, especially while there's an anchor here in this bow roller. Of course, that means that you need a bit of extra space. And as usual with Sea Ray, you have quite a beamy bow with non-skid here. So it's really not only comfortable and easy, but also safe to get on and off the boat. Let me take this back because of course we'll be taking her out for a spin later. You may notice that it's a nice stainless steel polished in a high gloss anchor. I just think it looks good and it matches the looks of this Sea Ray Sundancer 265. An anchor winch below deck here, with a chain below. I don't know the length by heart, but it's sufficient. Really good and practical. Controls are here. Of course, they can be used either with your hands or with your feet. There's a second control also at the helm, which I personally think you should only use in case of emergency, because usually it's better to look at the anchor while you drop the anchor or take it up. Stainless steel cleats, like we're used to with Sea Ray, made out of 316 stainless steel. A really good, maybe even the best quality available in the water sports industry. And the Sea Ray logo engraved. What I always like with Sea Rays is that they fix these in really the proper way. And I would invite you to have a look on boats which are up to 20 years old and check if there are minor cracks here. You will notice that with Sea Rays you will hardly or not find any cracks at all close to the cleats. And that is because Sea Ray builds this in a way that there's an added structure, I would say, at these cleats, so that they're fixed properly, because they do tend to suffer from some stress over the years. Resulting in not having cracks with Sea Rays. Maybe different on other brands, but this is what separates Sea Ray from the competition. Nice stainless steel hinges, and you may notice this small zipper here. There's a cover to cover this sun lounge. You could of course also take it off, and there's also a hatch below here to bring daylight in the front cabin. And there's two further skylights below the cushions here, so that you can have further daylight in the bow area, which is really nice. There's non-skid on both sides of the sun lounge here, and of course you can hang on to this, but also when you tend to enjoy the sunshine here, it's really nice to grab onto these railings which are on both sides, securing also the cushions of the bow lounge. So a great place to enjoy the sunshine on a beautiful day such as today. And going back, of course, there's this window which you can close from here. I'll leave it open for now. It may seem logical, but there's quite a few boats which do not even have a windshield wiper. This Sea Ray Sundancer 265 does have one. Very practical. If you have some spray coming over, you may need it, especially on less nice days. If you want to go from A to B, you need to head back. Well, there's still a bit of rain. This can be really useful. You may notice me going back and down at the same time that there's steps in the door here. What I appreciate with this boat is that this entrance is relatively wide, so it's quite easy for me to get up and down from this side. Let me open this in the meantime, so that if I get in, it's easy to do so. I'll get back to the inside later, but let's finish the cockpit first. What I also like, now heading towards the sun, is that there's really a nice lounge place here. This is really comfortable, and I always say that the ergonomics on Sea Rays are really good. It's really nice to feel that the backrest here is angled in a way that it just immediately feels comfortable. And what I always also like with Sea Ray is the attention to detail when it comes to the upholstery. I'm not sure whether the cameraman can show that on the video, but there's a nice Sea Ray logo engraved. There's diamond stitching in the different panels. You see contrasting colors here. This doesn't only look good, but this also adds to the longevity of the cushions. With this stitching here, taking care of this not wearing, because of course this is a place which tends to wear the easiest. That doesn't happen on the Sea Ray that quickly. There's a small place here where the main switches are. Really practical. If you get on the boat, if you want to switch on the main switches, it's just opening up this. So you get there relatively quickly. There's a porthole here at my feet, by the way, giving ventilation possibilities to the mid cabin or the aft cabin, no matter how you call it. And the helm here is a really nice helm. This being set up with the twin 9-inch displays, but I'll get back to that when we do a bit of driving. Heading towards the cockpit in the aft here. This is just a great place to enjoy a day on the water with a group of friends. I really love this setup. I mean, imagine sitting here with a group of friends or with your family with this nice Sea Ray teak table. It's a full solid teak table, and you may notice that it can also be lowered. You see this can be lowered there, so there's a filler piece giving the possibility to make this a sunbed, where you can actually also tilt this down, making it even longer. And before I forget, I like details such as this, which adds a bit of safety, because this is a nice place you can grab onto, but there's grab rails all over the place. There's 1, 2, 3, there's one here. So if you're here in rougher conditions, you still can have different possibilities to not fall overboard. So a great area here to sit, but not only that, there's a really big, and I'm opening this just to show you how big it is, really big fridge. It's well insulated, so plenty of space to take your cool drinks, to store them properly, keep them cool on a hot, nice day. And of course inside there's a second fridge, but I think this is generally used most on a beautiful day. Before I tilt this up, this is also nice if you're out at anchor and if you just want to sit here while your kids are playing, going in and out of the water, And let me also show you on the bathing platform here that this has the submersible swim platform. Now being a really great day. Sorry, it's a bit dirty below. Perhaps we should have cleaned it, but this is really nice. If you're at anchor, it's comfortable for, well, fun I should say, for kids to get in and out of the water with. Of course, there's normal swimming ladder. I think it's on the side. I'm not sure on which side it is. It's on that side. So we may show that later. But there is a proper swimming ladder on that side. What I appreciate is that it's more or less taken away from the stern drive. So you don't have the danger of hitting the prop, which can be relatively sharp. So it's angled, it's taken away from the stern drive again. And this submersible swim platform also makes it easy to put on a wakeboard, or to take it off, of course, or water skis. So a really nice and practical solution. This boat has been fitted with the optional sea deck in the grey version. There's also a possibility to have it in a, well, more or less teak color, a light brown color. Also really nice, especially if you have the different upholstery. This being the grey stone, I think this matches really nicely. But if you'd have the dune upholstery, which is brownish, then the combination with the teak color sea deck is also a really nice and beautiful combination. So those are some possibilities. Other practical things are, of course, this grab rail to hang on to if you get on and off the boat from the side. This being relatively low, actually the way we're moored today is a good example that you don't want to get on and off the boat from there, but you use this, and if you get on here, it's really nice, if that were to be the other side, to have different possibilities to grab onto. You may notice this grab rail here, by the way, that is also because the swimming ladder has been mounted below the swimming platform here on the port side. And before I forget, there's also a shower. This boat having a fresh water heater also gives you the possibility to use warm water, which heats up with the 220-volt electric system when you're moored in a marina and you have shore power available. There's a shore power connection here, by the way, before I forget. So a really nice, big, practical swimming platform. And of course, safety is an important issue with Sea Ray. So this being a really simple and practical solution. I'm struggling with this small door. Now it's closed properly. But this, just adding safety if you have small kids or a dog or whatever. It's just simple, but a proper way of closing the cockpit. Cup holders, one here, one there. There's others more forward. There's speakers here on both sides. There's courtesy lights below here at my feet, which is not only really nice when you sit here on a nice summer evening, getting dark, but it's also practical because it's directed towards the floor, so that it doesn't blind the person who's driving, which is also a thing that comes from the experience with Sea Ray. So there's lots of practical things on the Sea Ray which they gained from building over 60 years of beautiful sports boats. Well, let me get to the helm later. So let me take you inside and go through the cabin. So a great bow area here. It's not only roomy, but I just really love the atmosphere with this nice dark wood here. The leather, I don't think it's real leather, but still it's really nice leather. It just feels very comfortable and chic. I also like this stitching with this piping here, beautifully done. And of course you can lower the table and convert this into a double bed so that you can actually bring your cabin because there's a double bed also below the main cockpit. So a really great place again. Let me remind you that there's a hatch here and there's skylights on both sides here. They're now covered with the bow cushion, but if you take that away, there's even more daylight in this bow area. That having said, what I really love on this Sea Ray Sundancer 265 are these two windows on the sides here, but just because it doesn't make you feel being inside the cellar. Basically, there's lots of boats which don't have this, and you just don't really like being here, especially on a nice day. But with this boat, I mean, I can actually see the flowers on the side here now. I can see the water on that side, so it just makes you feel more comfortable. There's reading lamp on that side. There's one here, so on chilly evenings you could sit inside and read a book. There's lots of storage. This being open can be really practical. There's one on this side, a 12-volt socket. There's cupboards here, there's cupboards above at the galley. So again, really practical. Forgetting about the storage, which is also huge below the bunks here. So a really great 26/27 feet boat with lots of storage. Every space has been used. I also like the way that Sea Ray has done the speakers in the bow area. Just is looking really nice with this material taking away the speakers more or less. Another practical detail, by the way, that I'm thinking of is this. If you close this, this is a blind, of course. If you sleep here, you don't want it to get light, but if there's mosquitoes, you use this side. So again, a practical detail. A nice galley with a single burner stove, and of course the second fridge. There's a sink there, there's a porthole opening, there's another window in the side there. There's there's cupboards here on this place. There's switches. This is the upgraded stereo, so a nice fusion head unit. And of course there's the toilet area on this side here with a proper toilet and also a shower, all made from materials which can handle the water. You see this curtain here covering the door. So again, a practical, comfortable solution. It's, I think, a great boat to take a family of 4 out on the water for 1 or 2 weeks. So really nice. And of course there's a place below the cockpit where you can sleep, which is big enough for people like myself. I'm the 1.92 m guy, as a lot of people know from other videos. But I can actually sleep there properly, and I like also that there's a porthole also, so that you can have some ventilation. So a really nice and practical solution also to sleep more people. So let's take our first spin. Before we go out for a spin, let me take you through the engine compartment here, which by the way was a question from previous videos. Please keep on asking us questions for things you'd like to see. But this engine compartment setup is one that I appreciate a lot because it's clean, it's tidy. All the cables and wiring is done properly. You may notice the automatic fire extinguisher there at the end of the engine. The top light being mounted here in a nice way. The way this hatch has been made by itself, it's solid. There's a really proper structure. There's insulation here. There's gunnels to drain the water. It's all done in a nice way. There's really proper stainless steel clamps which are used throughout the engine bay on all the hoses. So again, a really nice setup done by a company that has been building boats for many years, and that shows from not looking on the outside, but if you go underneath, check inside cabins, inside storage areas. This is what you see on the Sea Ray. This has been fitted with a nice V8 6.2 liter 300 horsepower engine. I really love this engine, and I think it matches this Sea Ray Sundancer 265 perfectly. This engine having lots of torque, takes it out of the water easily. It's nice, it's smooth, and not only that, you may notice that there's for service this indication at the end. It's easy for servicing. This is the place where you check the oil level. This is where you fill the oil. This is the fuel filter. It's all easily accessible. You can see that there's plenty of space to go around this engine. We do a lot of service, not only on Sea Ray boats, but on lots of different brands. And our mechanics love working on boats such as these because they're really properly accessible and easily to service. So let me take her out for a spin. Okay, off we go. Engine still warm. You may notice the way I am using the throttles. I mean, it's really nice and simple with a really soft clunk when I engage the engine. This coming from the digital throttle and shift system. A really nice system, which is a drive-by-wire system, so there's no steel cables going from the engine to the controls for not only shifting but also for the throttle. So this means that it doesn't bring sound to the helm area, making the boat even more quiet. And not only that, there's usually with boats that do have these the previous setup with cables, if you engage, it's usually a difficult spot to find. You may hear a bit of rattling. Nobody can do anything wrong engaging this engine. Again, it's a soft clunk, really nice. I love the setup also on this particular seat with these two 9-inch Simrad displays. They're really beautiful. This is a system that Simrad installed together with Sea Ray. I love these screens, especially because they're really clear and also in bright daylight. It's actually early in the morning still, so the sun is a bit low. If the sun is on these screens, even on beautiful days with a really strong sunlight, you could still see these screens. And not only like this, but also if you have polarized glasses. I don't know if any of you recognize it, but sometimes if you put them on, look at screens and navigation screen in your car, you may have the same problem that the screens are no longer visible. That is not the case with these Simrad screens. So the setup I really like, a nice and clean, not cluttered dashboard, switches on the right place, a second control for the Fusion audio unit. There's trim tabs here. You can actually tilt the steering wheel. I still love the Sea Ray logo here. The nice leather stitched steering wheel. The bow thruster controls being on the right side here. The ergonomics again are really good. A good place. Let me take this away. This is for a door to get to have a cold drink here on the side. So really nice. What I also like is that you can not only steer like I was just doing with this tilted up with the flip up bolster, but if you sit down like this, it's actually really comfortable also for taller people like me. I must say that I would myself appreciate if the backrest or the seat could go further off, but the boat is always a compromise. This being a 26-27 footer, if you want to get a boat with which you can actually take a family out for a week or longer, there's certain compromises that have to be made. And of course, having this nice settee here, being able to be there with a group of friends enjoying, does mean that you don't use the maximum space perhaps on this side. But still, again, for a 1.92 m guy, it's fine. It can actually be you can slide it forward enough, so if you're not as tall as I am, it can also slide forward. So here we go, the engine's still warm. Let me tilt down the steering wheel for a moment. The engine's still warm. We're doing, let me check, around 6-7 kilometers an hour, 850 RPM. So a nice slow driving speed, and it's doing now, that is, well, can be important for some people, it's doing 1.1 kilometer per liter, so it actually can run over 1 kilometer on 1 liter of fuel. It's this figure here, which I tend to use because taking her up to plane, it usually is a good idea to check what the optimum cruising speed is. It's actually improving now, so we can get a further distance from a liter of fuel. But going faster again, this is something to keep an eye on. What I like again with this boat, having the V8 6.2 liter, is that it just feels very solid, very powerful. I would nearly say like a BMW 7 Series, really comfortable, luxurious, yet powerful when needed. Making it also nice to be cruising with a really good noise level, just giving the boat the proper character. So a really nice combination. So let me pick up some speed. We're doing 1,500, 1,600 RPM approximately. 11.6 kilometers an hour. That's actually on some parts on the lake here, 12 kilometers an hour is the maximum speed allowed. But in different spots, fortunately, you can go faster. So let me take her up to plane, but before that, again, these screens, looking at it, it may not be obvious for you, but I just set up this, that I have the engine data here, and now I have the echo sounder on one side of the screen here, and a map on this side, but this can all be adjusted according to your personal preferences. A lot of people have the map on one side, the engine data on the other, and just a figure of the depth below the boat here on the right side, but it can all be done in a nice way. There's actually, if you check YouTube for a deep dive, there's someone from Simrad having a really extensive video on the use of these Simrad screens. He uses the very sophisticated version of the screens, but the setup, the software is the same. So there's so many things you can do with these, so I would certainly recommend looking at them. And another thing that you can control from here is the active trim system. You can trim the engine from here just using your thumb, like a lot of people are used to, but that is no longer necessary because there's an automated system that does that using the GPS data, so that if you take a turn, the engine trims down, coming out of the turn, the stern drive trims up automatically. So there's nothing you need to do there. A really useful setup. So here we go. Taking her up to plane, 4,000 RPM, 35 kilometers an hour. Just around or slightly over 40 kilometers an hour, I think is a really nice cruising speed. We're doing 44 kilometers an hour now. The funny thing is that now the fuel consumption is actually more or less the same that we just had. It's doing 1.07 kilometers per liter, which is really good for a boat this big and this heavy. And it just feels very comfortable. I mean, I can still have a chat with someone sitting there. It's a really good noise level. It feels nice. I could easily do this for a couple of hours. So it just feels comfortable, reliable. But let me also take some turns. You can see perhaps that I'm only using one hand. It's power assisted, hydraulic steering. So really simple. And it just feels very reliable. There's actually somebody from the marina driving here, so let me just quickly pass by and wave, say hello. This is one of our most important employees, Igor, having a fun day on the water with our service boat. But Yeah, it's such a fun boat to drive. So we're having a great time here while Igor is heading off to Kempers Island on a really old Boston whaler. But back to the Sea Ray Sundancer 265. We're doing 45 kilometers an hour now. I'm picking up even more speed. Let me see what she can do. 55 kilometers an hour in the meantime. 62. 65, 66. 66 kilometers an hour approximately. Really sporty. Of course it's a sports cruiser, so it is not as fast as for example an SPX 210, but still it's fun to drive. It just feels agile, sporty. Making short turns like this, not a problem whatsoever. Really a fun, powerful and reliable boat to drive. So, we have a terrible job. I really love doing this, especially on beautiful days such as today. The water being 22 degrees actually, I'd love to drop the anchor, stay here, have a swim and drink a cup of coffee, but I have some more work to do. So let me wrap up this video. Thank you for watching. Leave your comments below the video. Keep on watching us, keep on following us. We will be taking a half whaler to London if we manage to get 10,000 subscribers. So please do subscribe if you have not already done so. Again, thank you for watching and have a great day on the water. See you next time.